Also those who say that you're being, in recent months, awfully thin-skinned.
I've always been thin-skinned. I've been thin-skinned from day one. I've always been thin-skinned. I've been thin-skinned from day one.
Some are calling Jimmy Kimmel the new Johnny Carson, while others are comparing him to the legendary George Carlin. But what do you think? Is Jimmy Kimmel? What is his net worth? How did he build his late-night empire? And what makes him one of the most influential entertainers in America today? In this video, we're diving deep into Jimmy Kimmel's career, lifestyle, and legacy, from his humble beginnings in radio to his multi-million-dollar success on ABC, including his suspension after what he said regarding the Charlie Kirk incident that pissed off Donald Trump. So stay tuned, because this story is packed with surprises. Who is Jimmy Kimmel? Jimmy Kimmel is one of America's most recognizable talk show hosts, comedians, and television producers. Born James Christian Kimmel on November 13, 1967, in Brooklyn, New York, he moved to Las Vegas at age 9. He later attended both University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and Arizona State University, although he didn't graduate from either. Here's a brief history of Jimmy Kimmel's career in a nutshell. Kimmel launched his career in radio, working in several U.S. markets before breaking into television as co-host of Win Ben Stein's Money in 1997. He later co-created The Man Show with Adam Carolla, a comedic talk show geared toward men and their interests, gaining a cult following for their irreverent humor in 1999 through 2004. Followed by Crank Yankers, a show with real crank phone calls to real victims. Puppets are added as the actors to give visual support to what is happening in the phone calls. In 2002 through to 2022. Breakthrough. Jimmy Kimmel Live. In 2003, ABC premiered Jimmy Kimmel Live, which Kimmel has hosted and executive produced ever since. The show became a late-night staple, known for its celebrity interviews, viral comedy bits, and Kimmel's signature blend of satire and self-deprecating humor. He's hosted the Primetime Emmy Awards 3 times and the Academy Awards 4 times, most recently in 2024. In 2025, he won an Emmy for Outstanding Host for a game show for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Net worth and income. As of 2025, Jimmy Kimmel's net worth is estimated at $50 million, not $200 million as previously rumored. His annual income is around $16 million, primarily from Jimmy Kimmel Live and hosting major award shows. He also earns through production deals, endorsements, and his company Kimmelot, which produces comedy and variety content. Lifestyle, homes and cars. Kimmel reportedly owns property in California, including a home in the Hollywood Hills. He's known for his love of classic cars, including vintage American muscle models. Personal life. Married his college sweetheart Gina Maddie in 1988. The two first met at Arizona State University. Jimmy and Gina share 2 children, Katie Kimmel, 34, and Kevin Kimmel, 32. Jimmy Kimmel was only 24 years old when his daughter Katie Kimmel was born, on August 28, 1991. After his separation from Gina Maddie in 2002, Jimmy Kimmel tied the knot with Molly McNerney in 2013. They share a daughter, Jane, 11, and a son, Billy, 8, who was born with a congenital heart condition, a cause Kimmel has passionately advocated for on-air. Molly McNerney is the co-head writer and executive producer of Jimmy Kimmel Live. He has 4 children in total, and became a grandfather in 2025, when his eldest daughter, Katie, welcomed a daughter. Philanthropy and advocacy. Kimmel is a vocal supporter of children's health care, gun control, and LGBTQ+ rights. He's used his platform to raise awareness and funds for causes like Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Style and public persona. Kimmel's on-screen style is polished. Suits, ties, and clean-cut presentation. Off-camera. He's known for his laid-back casual looks consisting of simply jeans, sneakers, and t-shirts. His comedy blends observational humor, satire, and deadpan delivery, often poking fun at himself, his guests, and current events. Legacy and influence. Jimmy Kimmel has shaped the late-night landscape for over 2 decades. Kimmel has won several awards throughout his career, both for his hosting and his contributions to television comedy. Here's a breakdown of the most notable ones. Daytime Emmy Award, 1999. Win Ben Stein's money won for Outstanding Game Show Host, shared with Ben Stein. Writers Guild of America Award, 2012. For his work on Jimmy Kimmel Live, recognized for excellence in comedy variety writing. Critics' Choice Television Award, 2013. Hollywood Walk of Fame Star, 2013. Honored with a star for his contributions to television. And he was named one of Time magazine's 100 Most Influential People in 2018. Best Talk Show for Jimmy Kimmel Live. Multiple Emmy nominations, Jimmy Kimmel Live has received numerous Primetime Emmy nominations over the years, including for Outstanding Variety Talk Series and Outstanding Writing. Jimmy Kimmel also won the Emmy for Outstanding Host for a game show for his work on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire at the 77th Creative Arts Emmy Awards on September 7, 2025. This was part of the annual Emmy Awards, where he accepted the award and paid tribute to the show's original host, Regis Philbin, who passed away in 2020. And Kimmel has hosted the Academy Awards 4 times, 2017, 2018, 2023, 2024, and the Primetime Emmy Awards 3 times, 2012, 2016, 2020. While these events don't typically award the host, his performances have been widely praised and often cited in industry retrospectives. Despite recent controversy, including a temporary suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live in September 2025 over comments about Donald Trump's grieving of Charlie Kirk, Kimmel remains a cultural force. So, stay tuned for the second part, The Fall of Kimmel, about his recent suspension. Celebrities react, Disney buckles, and free speech is tested. The moment that shook late night. Jimmy Kimmel was just suspended by ABC, and what happened next will blow your mind. A single joke triggered a media firestorm. Celebrities rallied. Politicians got involved. Disney's stock took a hit. And the future of free speech in comedy? Hanging by a thread. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this moment could change everything. From how comedians speak to how networks respond. The joke that sparked it all was on September 15, 2025, Jimmy Kimmel opened his monologue with a sharp critique of the political response to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist, was fatally shot while speaking at Utah Valley University. The alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, became a flashpoint in political debates, but his affiliations remain under investigation. Kimmel said, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." Or that line? It lit the fuse. FCC Chair Brendan Carr called it dangerous rhetoric. Conservative media exploded, and ABC, owned by Disney, responded with a stunning move: the suspension and the fallout. Jimmy Kimmel's show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, was not permanently canceled, but it was temporarily suspended by ABC on September 17, 2025, following backlash over his comments. The suspension lasted less than a week, and on September 22, Disney announced that the show would resume airing on Tuesday, September 23, 2025. But during that week, chaos. Sinclair and Nexstar affiliates pulled the show from their lineups. Trump praised the suspension, calling it great news for America. Thousands of viewers canceled Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions. Hashtags like Cancel Disney and Stand with Kimmel trended across platforms. The celebrity uprising. While some celebrated the suspension, others saw it as censorship. Celebrities including Jamie Lee Curtis, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Selena Gomez signed an open letter defending Kimmel. Wanda Sykes posted a video reacting to the cancellation on the day she was scheduled to appear. Even Senator Ted Cruz, normally aligned with Trump, warned that FCC threats represented government overreach. A Change.org petition demanding Kimmel's reinstatement hit 60,000 signatures in just 48 hours. The entertainment world was split, but the free speech debate was front and center. Disney's billion-dollar blowback. Disney's stock dropped 2.4%, erasing billions in market value. Was it directly tied to Kimmel's suspension? Hard to prove, but the timing was brutal, and investors were watching. Behind the scenes, negotiations intensified. ABC executives scrambled to contain the fallout, and Sinclair reportedly issued 3 demands before lifting their affiliate ban. Number 1. A formal apology to the Kirk family. Number 2. A donation to Turning Point USA. And number 3. A private meeting with Kimmel to discuss boundaries. But what did Jimmy Kimmel say that rattled everyone about Charlie Kirk? Let's take a look, shall we?
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the 4th stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. There's something wrong with him. There really is. I mean, who thinks like that? And why are we building a $200 million ballroom in the White House? Is it possible that he's doing it intentionally so we could be bad about that instead of the Epstein list?
It seemed to be more about President Donald Trump rather than Charlie Kirk. Perhaps this line was blurred. Trump was happy about the fact that Jimmy Kimmel was being punished. Here's what Donald Trump says about Jimmy Kimmel.
Anybody could replace him. Guy had no talent. Kimmel he was fired. He had no talent. It's a whack job, but he had no talent. And more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings.
Well, I do tonight.
You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly. He might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this now.
The return of Jimmy Kimmel. Live. On September 22nd, Disney reversed course. Kimmel's show is back. But the question remains, will he address the controversy head-on? Will he apologize? Or will he double down? Sources close to the production say Kimmel is considering his options. Some insiders believe he'll use his return episode to tackle the issue directly. Others say he'll pivot to safer ground. Either way, the stakes couldn't be higher. The bigger picture, free speech versus corporate pressure. This isn't just about one joke. It's about whether comedians can still speak truth to power, whether satire is protected or punished, whether networks cave to political pressure or stand by their talent. In an era where one line can cost millions, where outrage spreads faster than facts, and where corporations fear controversy more than censorship, what happens to comedy? Is Jimmy Kimmel the new George Carlin? Or is he just the latest casualty in a culture war that's swallowing entertainment whole? Let's take a look at a chunk of his monologue upon his return to Jimmy Kimmel Live, which garnered a lot of standing ovations, shall we?
Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted, if you're just joining us, we are preempting your regularly scheduled encore episode of Celebrity Family Feud to bring you this special report. I'm happy to be here tonight with you. I'm not sure who had a weirder 48 hours, me or the CEO of Tylenol. It's been overwhelming. I've heard from a lot of people over the last 6 days. I've heard from all the people in the world over the last 6 days. Everyone I have ever met has reached out 10 or 11 times. Weird characters from my past. The guy who fired me from my first radio job in Seattle, where we are not airing tonight, by the way. Sorry, Seattle. His name is Larry. In 1989, Larry tried to force me to do a bit called Jokes for Donuts, where people would call in with a joke and I would give them donuts. I refused to do it, and then I made a lot of fun of Larry for suggesting it, and eventually Larry fired me, and I had to move back in with my parents. But even he wrote in to cheer me up. Thank you, Larry, and I want to thank everyone who checked in. Some that I do especially want to mention are my fellow late-night talk show hosts. My friend Stephen Colbert found himself in this predicament. My friends Jon Stewart, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallon, John Oliver, Conan O'Brien, James Corden, Arsenio, Kathy, Wanda, Chelsea, even Jay reached out. I heard from late-night hosts in other countries, from Ireland and from Germany. The guy in Germany offered me a job. Can you imagine? My boyhood idols, Howard Stern and David Letterman, were very considerate. I also want to thank all of you who supported our show, cared enough to do something about it, to make your voices heard so that mine could be heard. I will never forget it. And maybe most of all, I want to thank the people who don't support my show and what I believe, but support my right to share those beliefs anyway. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country. And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Stephen off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. That is un-American, and it's so dangerous.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down.
A lot of people have been asking me if there are conditions for my return to the air, and there is one. Disney has asked me to read the following statement. I've agreed to do it. Here we go. To reactivate your Disney Plus and Hulu account, open the Disney Plus app on your smart TV or TV-connected device. Fortunate to work at a company that has allowed me to do the show the way we want to do it for almost 23 years. I've done almost 4,000 shows on ABC, and over that time, the people who run this network have allowed me to evolve and to stretch the boundaries of what was once traditional for a late-night talk show, even when it made them uncomfortable, which I do a lot. Every night, they've defended my right to poke fun at our leaders and to advocate for subjects that I think are important by allowing me to use their platform, and I'm very grateful for that. With that said, I was not happy when they pulled me off the air on Wednesday. I did not agree with that decision, and I told them that, and we had many conversations. I shared my point of view. They shared theirs. We talked it through, and at the end, even though they didn't have to, they really didn't have to. This is a giant company. We have short attention spans, and I am a tiny part of the Disney Corporation. They welcomed me back on the air, and I thank them for that. The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke. Somehow able to squeeze Colbert out of CBS, then he turned his sights on me, and now he's openly rooting for NBC to fire Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and the hundreds of Americans who work for their shows who don't make millions of dollars. And I hope that if that happens, or if there's even any hint of that happening, you will be 10 times as loud as you were this week. We have to speak out against this. He's gunning for our journalists, too. He's suing them. He's bullying them. Over the weekend, his foxy friend Pete Hegseth announced a new policy that requires journalists with Pentagon press credentials to sign a pledge. promising not to report information that hasn't been explicitly authorized for release. That includes unclassified information. They want to pick and choose what the news is. But one thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. That's anti-American. A moment over the weekend, a very beautiful moment. I don't know if you saw this on Sunday. Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply. And I hope it touches many. And if there's anything we should take from this tragedy to carry forward, I hope it can be that and not this. So thank you for listening. And I'll have more to say when we come back.
What about also those who say that you're being, in recent months, awfully thin-skinned?
I've always been thin-skinned. I've been thin-skinned from day one. I've always been thin-skinned. I've been thin-skinned from day one.
Some are calling Jimmy Kimmel the new Johnny Carson, while others are comparing him to the legendary George Carlin. But what do you think? Do you think Jimmy Kimmel is a comedic genius who's taken things too far? Or do you think he's a talented comedian who's being unfairly targeted? Or a talented entertainer caught in the crossfire? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And before you go, if you liked this video, please make sure to throw me a like for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching.